friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. I am here to share some cards I'm making with stencils from Maker Forte today, and I want to show you how easy it is to create a card with just stencils. So I've got two different stencil sets. I've got that Happy Birthday A2 size, and then I've got this one which is called Pineapple Petals, and it's kind of like you're looking down at the top of the pineapple, and this is what you might see. And I'm actually going to flip it around just because of the way I want to place my sentiment on there. So I'll use just stencils and inks and of course crown jewel gems and a sentiment set. Now I really should start with that top one that would fill in the most ink and use my lightest color. For some reason I decided I wanted to start with my darkest color, and I'm using a combination of yellows and greens, and I decided to go with the Distress Oxides because I want them to be very distinct colors, and I wasn't sure how the neon colors would combine with the regular inks in the Maker Forte line. So I'm using my my perfect placement tool here, and I really like this tool for doing stenciling things because it really does give me a way to make sure my stencils are lined up. So now technically I should start with that top stencil and use my lightest color, but I decided to start with the bottom stencil and use my darkest color first. So I am using Marigold, I forget what this is called. It's like an orangey yellow color, and I'm putting that on first. I'm just filling everything in, even the leaf parts I'm filling in, and I'll pull out a green to do the leaf parts. So that was dried marigold, by the way, and I believe this is peeled paint. So I'm just going to go over the part that of the stencil that is the leaves, and I'm going to take that peeled paint over. I just want to start to get some green shading in there, and mostly I'm filling in the yellow to keep it easy to do. So I'm going to take my second stencil, and I pulled out fossilized amber. I love this color, and I'm going to go over everything with that fossilized amber color. I think it's really pretty, and you can see those little marigold, dried marigold bits showing through there, and I think it looks fantastic. Actually, I just love this stencil set. It's just so nice to add layers on your stencil, and it's so easy. So I pulled out another green, and I believe this is Mowed Lawn, and this is just going where the leaves are. So, and here you'll see me remove it, and you can see that I missed one. Easy to place back on because I'm using the perfect placement tool, and it just gives me a place to line everything up. And I did put a little bit of temporary adhesive on the back. Isn't that pretty? If I stopped right there, I'd be happy with that. It doesn't need to look like anything really, but I forge ahead. Now I am able to use a magnet because that mat that I have everything on, that bluish green mat, is actually magnetic. So I'm using one of my magnets from my Misty. So now I'm going over everything with Scattered Straw. This is my lightest color, and it does tone down the darker colors and the medium colors a bit, which I'm okay with because I like the muted way this turned out. If I'd done this in the opposite order and started with this stencil and my lightest colors, the darker bits would be darker. But I was in the mood for lighter, muted for some reason, so I did it in the opposite direction. So this is Twisted Citron, and again this is going just on the leaves, and I really like that. I feel like you can see all the layers there when I'm all done, but I definitely have a distinctly green area there. And this was like how quick this was. Like this was so fast to do. And that's the way I'm going to put this down. In the package it was 180 degrees the other way, and I like it that way just because of where I want to put my stencil. So I'm going to clean, I'll put that aside and I'll put the cards together at the same time when I'm done. I just cleaned off my mat so I didn't get ink on my next card, because for the next card, instead of just using inks to ink blend over the stencil, which would be super quick with the next stencil, I decided that I wanted to use some paste. Alexandra did a technique the other day at the Lift Your Spirits class that she does every month. By the way, friends, that is a free class. You can go to Maker Forte, just add it to your cart, check out, and you'll get a link to the free class. You get sneak peeks into the new colors they're coming out with, and you get sneak peeks into new stamps and stencils that are coming out. And she does at least 2 cards and techniques and things, so it's pretty fun. She shows you a lot of things the design team made and so forth. So I want to try this technique because it looked fantastic when she did it. So I pulled out some, she used the Glitz Glitter paste, but I don't actually have any of that. So I pulled out my Vicky Bouton iridescent glaze because I like it a lot. You could use if you have some of that opaque texture paste that Alexandra has in the Maker Forte store, that would work beautifully for this as well. So I decided I wanted to go ahead and use, this is actually a new container. I've actually used a whole container of this stuff, believe it or not. Like, I love gels and pastes and all that stuff. The glazes, like, I love them. So I'm just applying a thin layer of this iridescent glaze to my card front through the stencil. And I'm using my palette knife to do that. It's my favorite way to actually add it. I'm most comfortable using my palette knife. I've tried other things, like you can see my stencil pail sitting there. That works great too. It's just I'm super comfortable with that palette knife. So the next step for this is to add some re-inkers. But you put the re-inker like a few dots on the stencil itself. So that was Rara Skirt. This is Purple Rain, and then Acid Wash. These are the only 3 re-inkers that I have, and I think the colors are lovely. And then I'm going to use my stencil pail and just smear those around, and the blue kind of goes away, and I get a lot of purple with pink streaks. I'm okay with the way that came out, and there's still a lot of white showing through, which is okay also because that is iridescent. It is really pretty glaze, and I'm just going to pull that off. Now you can see around the P's I have a couple of smudges where it kind of squeezed under. I'm going to fix that, so you'll see how I fix that. So I put that aside to let it dry, and I went immediately and cleaned off my stencil, my palette knife, my perfect placement template. So I have a vertical folding card, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5, and I'm going to use that for that pineapple petals card front I just made. And I'm just going to use double-sided sticky tape. This is my favorite way to add them because they stick so well. They stick forever to the card bases. And I can't say that for every adhesive, but double-sided sticky tape actually works really well. And I'm just peeling the backings off, and I'm going to open my card all the way, add the top, and then it just needs a sentiment and some crown jewel gems. No card is complete without crown jewel gems. That is my new mantra. Like, please, it must have bling. I got the package that I ordered actually came this morning, so I was able to use some new colors of crown jewel gems on these cards. So I have a bunch of those simple sentiments that are cut apart, and they're also foilable. I could have foiled these, but I was trying to keep it simple. So I pulled one out of the birthday sentiment set and trimmed it on my new trimmer, and you can see that I cut it in half, or in two pieces at least, not exactly in half. And I'm just adding some foam adhesive strips to the back. And those came from scrapbook.com. I really like these foam pieces. They're not too thick and lofty. Some of them are like a 1/4 inch thick, and it's too much dimension. So I've got these lime green crown jewel gems that I think are great with the greens that I used there over top of the yellows. So I'm just going to add 3 of those, because I only add 3 because I want them on every card, but I want them to last a long time. So that's my thing. So that finishes that card. And I'm going to link everything below so you can check out all the stuff in the Maker Forte store. These are new releases for August, and they're fantastic. The stencils this month are just amazing. Not that they aren't always, because they are, but I love the stencils. I think I ordered almost all of them. I love them so much. I use stencils all the time. I think it's the most cost-effective product. So I actually dried this for about an hour, and when I came back it was perfectly dry, and I again added that with double-sided adhesive. Now I want to fix up those peas, and I'm going to just cover them up. I pulled out Sentiment from that same birthday Simple Sayings cut aparts, and I'm just going to cover up where it's messed up on the pea. That says "You're how old?" Love it. These are rhubarb, these crown jewel gems, and they're sort of a stormy grayish purple. I really like it. And I'm going to put 3 crown jewel gems. Again, 2 of them are being used to mask the smudges, and I'm okay with that. It looks fine. Nobody will even notice. So I have links for everything below. I love it when you click on my links and browse through the store, because it lets Alexandra know that I'm doing my job and you liked what you saw enough to click and check out things in the store. I definitely appreciate that you do that. Thank you so much to everyone who is clicking on my links. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching, friends. Have a wonderful day.